Today in Stoats Equipment video training, we are going to talk about Autotrac Diagnostics and figuring out why Autotrac isn't working. 80% of your time, you're going to run into this single pie with a wrench here. When that pops up on your screen, you can touch that and it will bring up a diagnostics page. From here, you can look into each state of the pie on what you need to make Autotrac work. So you can see in the first stage of your pie, you have steer control capabilities and your Autotrac license. That's going to tell you what you're using to actually run Autotrac. Your second piece of the pie is going to be GPS. So you're going to have your GPS validation. Each one of these you want to say yes or give you an instance of what you're using, such as your tracking mode, the differential on your GPS, having an AB line defined, which you can see here it says no, and that is why our Autotrac is inactive. Another occurrence that you'll have frequently is steering control trouble codes, which will pop up if there's a steering angle sensor problem or a controller issue. So in this instance, we have to create an AB line to get our Autotrac back online. So what we would do is go back to our home page to either one of our set track buttons that we have here on our layout. You can set your track, create a new track, label it to your field or directional values that you're using. I'm going to do a north plus south. And a lot of the guys will use an AB method to create an AB line. I've been having most of my operators switch to a heading direction to increase the way that you can match each field so everything's matching the same. Instead of following a ditch or something like that, you can set in an actual heading degree, which north and south would be 180 or a 0. You can set your A, accept, and that's going to create your north and south lines. Now you can see here we have a steer button. You can turn your steering on, and then that way you can activate your Autotrac and everything will be back online. In other instances, you may run into a activation issue where an activation is erased or just hasn't been placed on your receiver and or your display yet. And in that instance, you would have no button here, so there would be no steer button, no wrench. It would just be blank in this section here on your screen. To check that and make sure that you do have an activation, you can go into your Green Star tab. Under the Green Star tab, you can go to the top right hand corner, the GS3 section, and under activations, you will have a list of activations that are on the display. And you are going to want to have an Autotrac. It won't say demo, it'll say Autotrac SF2 or whichever one you have purchased. If there is no activation listed on your list of activations here on the display, then you'll know that you need an activation to run Autotrac. Another instance you can run into is if the activations on your Starfire are inactive or if the license is up. You can come into the menu tab here, the Starfire soft key. Then you'll go into the actual activations tab at the top, and this is going to give you any activations that you have and the end date of any subscriptions that you have listed on your Starfire. If you have RTK, in that issue, you would go over to this tripod here on the right hand side, and in that case you would have to build yourself a radio channel to match up to whatever base station you're using. So if you're using a quick survey base, you would have to match the vehicle to the quick survey, or if you're using an absolute base through Stoats equipment, you would have to match to the corresponding base station in your area. After you configure the radio, you can check here to make sure that you have the base station status is okay and the percentage of radio received. Usually you want to have 100%, but anything over 50% is good enough to run Autotrac.